There are negative side effects to being a high performer that I rarely hear people talk about. And as somebody who is an overachiever, as somebody who has a ridiculous amount of drive and brings an incredible amount of intensity to his work, as somebody who aims to be the best, as somebody who has been on this journey, this lifelong journey really, of trying to be the absolute best at what I do, I can tell you right now that it comes at a cost. That's what this video is about. It's about one, because it's multifaceted, but it's about one of those costs. And I'm going to share my insight on how you can pay that price, on how you can afford to pay that price. In other words, let's come up with a solution to this, because it is very real. And if you haven't encountered it yet, you will. So, very first story was when I competed at a world championship in Sweden. This was my first world championship, okay? Mind you, when I started in 2019, my whole reason for being was to become a world champion. I was training for years, got really, really good at training, saw lots of progress, more progress than most, to be honest with you, but only because I gave so much of myself to it. And I woke up one day, realized, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I don't understand why I'm training. Like, I have no why. I'm just showing up and doing shit. That's when I decided I was born to be a world champion. I've always been inspired by Arnold and Ronnie and all these guys who've done something with themselves, right? So it was in that moment, I decided to become a world champion. That was in 2019. 2021, I want to say it was, I finally had my first opportunity to become a world champion. This was peak pandemic though. So most people were afraid to go down the block to their local grocery store, let alone fly across the world alone to compete in their first world championship, to try and seize something that they have been dreaming of for a very long time. I go to Sweden, I win. Not only did I win the world championship, accomplishing what it is I had initially set out to as a powerlifter, but I also won Best Lifter. And for those of you who don't know, Best Lifter is probably the best award you could win at a world championship. It means not only did you win, but you were also the absolute best of the best, pound for pound, so to speak, out of everyone who competed there, or at least in your, like, male versus female, okay? So I won Best Lifter and I win the Junior World Championship. I get back to my hotel room. I felt the emptiest I had ever felt in my life. And that's crazy. It's crazy. I felt worse than I had before I had even gotten to the World Championship to begin with. And here I was thinking that attaining this outcome, attaining this thing was going to be it. Like, this is everything for me. This is what I want. And it turned out to be nothing to me because I felt empty. I felt hollow. Immediately I'm thinking, well, what now? Like, what next? What else am I supposed to do? So here you have, I win, I'm successful, and I feel empty. I feel lost. All right, now keep that in mind. Keep that word in mind, lost, because that's a big one. Second story, we'll use the most recent championship. I went to nationals recently in April. Some of you may have tuned in. If you did, I'm very grateful to you. We go to nationals. I'm definitely somebody who's always been an underdog, but make no mistake, I'm right fucking there. And it's always been a battle for the last couple years between me and all the best 93s because we're all really fucking strong and it really could be anybody's day. So we go to nationals. I was extraordinarily confident in my abilities. And, I was very self-aware. I knew what needed to be done. And we had paid attention to every little nook and cranny, every little stone that needed to be unturned. Like, we did everything. Going into nationals, extremely confident. Long story short, we missed first place on a final pull that we got up to here. Unfortunately, my positioning was pretty shitty. Pulled into my thighs forced the bar out, bar rolls, I lose grip. Now, we don't know that if I had gotten that third pull, if it definitely would have secured first place, but would have given us a 920 something kg total, massive PR, world record total, and would have been huge, right? We missed that. We ended up placing fourth with like an 890 total, something like that. I was so angry, so devastated and frustrated. It was the type of anger and devastation that's almost on par with exhaustion. Like, I don't even have words. Like, that's how I felt. And my relationship with Christ was challenged as a result of it. My relationship with myself was challenged as a result of it. And I'm still dealing with a lot of that stuff. It's only been a few months since then. Point is, to this day, and right now, that meet was April 5th. Right now we're in June. We're just a little past June 5th, so it's been a couple months. To this day, I am still feeling the effects of it. I feel like lost, empty, hollow, angry, hardened, you know? Some of that's good. You need that flavor that keeps you going. Remember what I said. What keeps you going might also hold you back, and that's also what's happening. This feeling is holding me back a little bit. I feel burnt out. So here you have again, massive win, massive loss, and yet my reaction's the same. How is that possible? How is that possible? Maybe it's not about the outcomes, it's not about the output, right? That's what this is about. That's the solution. So high performers face burnout, hit walls when their identity is tied to their output. So now what does this mean in the grand scheme of things as a high performer? How do you consistently keep going? How do you leverage your drive and your intensity so that you can accomplish what it is you've set out to accomplish without letting it hold you back, without letting it ruin you as an individual? Number one, you have to detach from the outcome. You have to do your best. You have to understand that it's not about the outcome, it's who you become in pursuit of the outcome. That's number one. Number two, actionable steps. Stop thinking and ruminating and wondering and pondering. Fuck all of that. Create real, new habits that, if you were to map it out across time, will lead to real change. Give you an example, real life example. I used to wake up at decent times, so my schedule was kind of all over the place. Sometimes I go to bed at 9 p.m., sometimes I go to bed at 1 a.m., you know, it's all over the place. One of the things I've had to instill is a very, very structured sleep schedule. I try my best to get 9 hours, but I'll be damned if I'm waking up after 8 a.m. from now on. Most days I'm trying to wake up between 5:30 and 6:30 a.m. That's what I'm aiming for. Bring that back 9 hours, that means I'm going to bed around 8:30 to 9:30. That was one real life change that I made that had to happen that I've already seen results from. The next thing I did was I had multiple conversations with my coach, and basically, and to his credit, he reminded me of this. He was like, I need you to be an athlete. Stop trying to coach yourself here. Because what happens is, as an overachiever and a high performer, you start to micromanage. You start to be so concerned with the output and the outcome because it matters that much to you that you start to be worried about every little thing. When you forget, you can't do it all. Not only that, you're not supposed to. So he reminded me, take a step back, just show up, be an athlete, do your job, execute. Let me handle the rest there. You give me feedback, I respond to it, done. That recentered me because now I'm not tied to the outcome of my training. I've given it to him. My job is to give 110% and show up every day and in every rep. And that's it. Third thing I did, Heidi and I agreed that going to church together was important for us, for our relationship. And yeah, so I was like, fuck it, I'm all in, you know? So going to church is really, really important. Those are the three things that, just three examples. There's others, but those are the three primary examples I can give you of creating real habitual change in your life to deal with this burnout, to deal with this sense of, you know, feeling lost. So we said detach, create new habits. The next thing you need to do is shift your perspective of the scoreboard. Okay, so what that means is you have to redefine success. Now, this doesn't mean you move the goalpost. This doesn't mean, well, because I didn't win nationals, I need to make myself feel better about it. So let me just tell myself that winning actually meant hitting the squat world record, or winning meant just showing up. Like, let me get the participation trophy. That's not at all what the fuck I'm talking about. And if you're a true high performer, there's no way you're gonna be able to convince yourself of something like that anyway. So what do I mean when I say redefine success and to shift your perspective when it comes to the scoreboard? All I want you to do is go from thinking about the output to the pursuit. That's it. Outcome, pursuit of the outcome. And you've heard me talk about this before, we hinted at it earlier. The idea isn't to wrap everything around this idea of becoming a world champion. The idea isn't to wrap everything around becoming a national champion or, I don't know, raising $5 million for your company and then exiting for $100 million. That's the outcome that you're looking for, absolutely. But that's not where you're placing your energy and your emphasis. Your energy and your emphasis is actually directed inwards. It's on your own development. It's on your own ability. Because again, here you shift from an external locus of control to an internal locus of control. And this is absolutely imperative. Life is not fair. That's why you can't have dependence upon life. You have to have dependence on your ability to respond to life. That's it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not easy. No one's coming to save you. The truth of the matter is you have to do it. Nothing changes if nothing changes. That's the truth. The benefit, though, is when you have an internal locus of control and you shift that perspective, you now take your power back. This means you're not just giving energy And this is like we're going to come full circle with this. When you experience burnout as a high performer, what's happening is you are giving your energy into a system and you're not receiving it back. That's what's happening. Again, the same thing that drives you to be successful, because you have to put energy into stuff, is now holding you back because you're not receiving it back. You're not receiving the reward that you thought you were going to get. And that's why grit, psychologically, is the biggest and best determining factor in successful individuals, and whether or not someone is going to be successful or not. It's grit. Now, I'm not saying that all these other factors don't influence anything. That's not it. That's life. That's why I'm saying life's not really fair. But the one thing that they found that is the most powerful factor when becoming successful, it's grit. And guess what? That's the one thing that's actually within your control. I can't control how tall I am. That's the truth. I can't control a lot of things in my life, and it sucks. I can't control a lot of the outcomes. Even when I'm putting in all this fucking work to be the absolute best, there's some shit you just can't foresee. You just have to take it on the chin and keep going and keep going and keep going. That's grit. How I've been able to continue to keep going no matter what comes my way in business, in training, and in my relationships is by shifting the perspective and recognizing that success is not actually the output or the outcome. It's who I'm becoming in pursuit of that. Period. And I know that if I self-develop, as I continue to achieve success with that new definition, the outcome that I want is inevitable. It's inevitable. So now what do? I don't have to worry about it anymore. Period. You follow? So hopefully this all makes sense. And again, being a high performer, being an overachiever, it's not easy. It's a way of life. I encourage everyone to aim high. You don't have to try and be the absolute best in the world at something. That's okay. Some people just don't want that. That's okay. But aim to be your best. That's the minimum. All right? Hope you guys enjoyed this YouTube video. I'll see you next time. Peace.